What's going on, true believers? Welcome to another episode of One Shot. I am your host, Jacob, and today is New Comic Book Day. It was a, all-right week. There were a lot of good books released today. Did I get everything I expected? Maybe, and then some. Some last-minute pickups, but let's get right into it, shall we? First one I picked up was the giant-sized Amazing Spider-Man, The Chameleon Conspiracy. I know I haven't had a lot good to say about Nick Spencer's run, but I do have some news. Nick Spencer is ending his run, finally. I'm super excited because I have not been enjoying his stuff for a very, very long time. I am a little worried who they're going to get to replace him. I can only hope for a few people that could do it some justice. But I am happy to report Nick Spencer is leaving the run. Overall, this issue, it was, again, more of the same. Okay, not great. It's been better than some of the other stuff that's been out there, but just okay. A last minute pickup. Paris. Let me see if I can pronounce this. Parasomnia. There it is. Got it. This is a new series by Dark Horse. I don't have very many Dark Horse on my list. I saw this one. I said, let me give this one a shot. And it's kind of weird. It's split into like two things. One is kind of this old-timey, almost Paul Revere style, but like there's bandits in the woods, and this guy's riding around and looking for a boy. And then it like kind of cuts to modern day stuff where there was a homeless guy getting beat up, and then like to some other people they don't give any kind of context whatsoever. They didn't set it up like at all. But in the back of the book it says something about a boy or a guy is in a coma or something, and he's going through looking for his son, and I don't know. It was a little confusing, but I'll check out the next issue because it's got me curious, but the artwork is just okay for me. And if it doesn't pick up within the next 2 or 3 issues, I'll just wind up dropping it. Another last minute pickup, La Muerta. I know nothing about this series. It just kind of drew my eye. I said, let me check out another indie publisher. This is by Coffin Comics. Read it. Again, just another okay book. I guess this has been a series for a little while, because they keep mentioning stuff that's happened before, and I guess there's another series that happened where these characters did whatever they did. It was okay. Obviously, I guess I'm missing some backstory, so it didn't really interest me too much. Trying to get through the mediocre books right at the beginning, I guess, because Dr. Aphra, this is a War of the Bounty Hunters tie-in. This is number 11. This one was better than the last one for me, though, because she's sneaking through a ship. I don't even remember how they got there, because in the last book I don't think they were even heading to anything, but they're on this ship. It's full of just dead bodies. It's supposed to be like some type of pleasure cruise. They're hunting this guy for some reason. I don't know why. They find him. He's obviously no longer with us. But it finally ties in to the search for Han Solo. And this guy was pretty cool. I hope he makes another appearance, but who knows? He's a high paid bounty hunter. He was pretty cool. But obviously not really reading Dr. Aphra. It doesn't really interest me too much. Just buying it for the tie-in. Beta Ray Bill. This series started out pretty good, kind of tapered off. This issue is the next to the last, so 5 is going to be the last issue. I'm wondering how they're going to tie this all up. He's on a hunt for the Sword of Surtur, I guess, because he thinks he's ugly and his hammer broke, so he's got no way to change back. So he's got to find something just as powerful as his hammer to change him back to the way he thinks he looks beautiful. All these characters are like, "Oh, I see inside you. You look so beautiful." No, I'm ugly. Blah blah blah. It's ugh. I don't really like that kind of stuff in this book, but the art I do enjoy. The story that isn't about that kind of crap is pretty good, but yeah, one more issue. Spawn 319. This book was fantastic. I'm not a huge Spawn fan. Like, I just started picking it up recently. But this book was really cool. Spawn's on the hunt for some documents, and he finds the name of somebody, and this guy seems happy-go-lucky, like the best dude you'll ever meet, but then there's a darkness to him. I'm not going to spoil too much, but Spawn does kind of show up and tries to extract the documents from this guy. Really good book. The Matina cover here is the one I went with, and I thought it was phenomenal. Great book. If you're not on Spawn, getting into the Spawn universe, you should be. Beast Wars. This is Transformers Beast Wars, issue number 5. I grew up watching Beast Wars, so when this book came out, I was like, man, super nostalgic. I really wanted to pick it up, so it's definitely, it's not a kid's book, but it's also not like super dark type stuff, like adult themes or anything. But if you grew up watching Transformers Beast Wars, you would like this book. It's definitely a lighter read, but the artwork's pretty good. Highly enjoying this book, just simply out of nostalgia. We've got the Department of Truth. This is issue number 10. This is the B cover. This one is about Bigfoot. Who doesn't love Bigfoot? We're learning more about what the department does when it handles kind of cryptids, though they don't like the term cryptids. They kind of have things split into 3 categories, like ghosts are in their own, have their own specter category type thing. I think they called them intangibles. Then they've got like things like angels and demons and things. They're in their own category. And then the cryptids are in like the creature category. And apparently the creatures are the most dangerous because they are, they appear to be alive. And we're learning more about how them being brought into reality works, and kind of why pictures of like Nessie and Bigfoot are always blurry. Thought this was a pretty solid issue. A lot of explanation. There is a lot of reading in this one, due to the fact that a few of the pages are like handwritten notes from somebody who has witnessed, a Bigfoot sighting. And then a few issues of it are a little hard to read. But overall, solid story. Learning more about how this universe works. and getting to hunt Bigfoot. That's cool. Avengers Mech Strike issue 4. Obviously, judging by the cover, we can tell that Thanos makes an appearance. When I first started this book, I thought it was going to be more geared towards kids. You know, the Avengers getting mech suits and hunting. Well, not hunting. They're trying to stop these creatures from showing up, almost Pacific Rim style. And then Kang, you find out that it's Kang the Conqueror sending them back into the past or something from the future. It's been a while since I read the first issues. But in this one, Thanos makes an appearance, and it's pre-Infinity Gauntlet Thanos, because he has no idea who the Avengers are. But they know him. So it's kind of a time, dealing with time. But spoiler alert ahead, he doesn't make it through the issue, and this is not geared towards kids. Kang the Conqueror, spoilers, basically just rips his skull out of his head, off of his body. It was insane, and I was like, whoa! Yeah, it was really good. I've been enjoying this series. I'm glad I hopped on it. I don't hear anybody talking about this series. But if you, I don't know how long this run's gonna be, but if you see these out there, definitely give them a shot. It definitely piqued my interest. I like the whole mech, like the Pacific Rim style stuff. You know, mechs versus monsters. That's what initially drew me in. But if you like that kind of thing, you probably like that. We Only Find Them When They're Dead, issue 7. Man, this series is slow. This thing is killing me. This is another just kind of filler issue. We've gone back into somebody else's like past, and it's just like jumping between times, and it's so confusing. And then none of the characters that we started this series with are there, really. I mean, there may be one, and he's now like one of the gods that kind of floated back. But man, this series started out so good, and now it's just like I don't know what's happening. Where is it going? But I'm still in. The artwork is still okay, even though some spots seem like, I can't tell if it's printing issues or what, but there's like blurry pictures, and but I'm still in. I'm hoping for some like big reveal, something to hit me real hard. But the last maybe 5 issues have been pretty much duds to me. Crossover issue 7. This one was written by Chip Zdarsky, and obviously he's on the cover. I'm going to get into some serious spoilers with this book, so if you don't want to know anything about it, I suggest you skip ahead. But this book is super meta. So Chip Zdarsky wrote a story about himself. His actual name, I forget his name, is like Stephen something. I forget his last name. I had no idea he wrote under a pen name. But he's in the book. Obviously, if you've been following this series, comic book characters have come to life. People who write comics and things are kind of out of jobs because the world is in turmoil, basically because of what they wrote. So he's kind of just doing mundane jobs and sucking at it under his real name. And then he runs into himself, but Chip Zdarsky, because apparently he wrote himself at one point into a comic book, and so he is trying to protect himself because somebody is killing off comic book writers. it gets crazy. Like, just the way to explain it is insane. Sounds insane, but his comic book self is trying to protect his real self from somebody killing comic book creators. Uh, this one, it's kind of a filler issue. Is like it's kind of off the timeline with the rest of the series, but it was so good. I don't even care. Like, it's just crazy fun, and I kind of hope they do more with that with him. The Autumnal issue 8. This is the last issue in the series, and I thought it ended very, very well. I was surprised. A lot of series that I've been reading lately, they just don't know how to finish the book. They hit it right on the head how it should have been finished. I could they have taken this book a little bit further? Probably, but I'm not mad at where it ended. Definitely really good series. When this comes out in like book form, definitely pick it up, give it a read. Not for little audiences, definitely got mature content in it. But highly recommend it. It was a really good read. Another last minute pick was Barbaric #1. And even on the cover from Scott Snyder, it says, "What you want and way more. What do you want?" Just massive amounts of carnage and violence. But there is more to it. So it starts out, this barbarian is just living a barbarian's life. And he gets ambushed by these 3 witches, and they poison him. And they give him an ultimatum. They say, you can either go to hell, or you can be cursed by us. And they say, what would you do? And he's just like, well, I guess I'll take the curse, if it keeps me alive. Well, the curse is he has to do good. Anybody that asks him for help, he has to help them. If there's bad guys, people who do bad, he basically has to kill them. Anybody who does good, he has to let them go. And his axe talks to him. But he's the only person that can hear this axe talk to him. It's a magical axe. It's bloodthirsty. It literally drinks the blood of his enemies. And it gets blood drunk. It's great. It's such a good read. I am super excited to see where this one goes, because I was not expecting any of this. I wound up picking up the polybagged version as well. If this book takes off, maybe might sell this or something. But such a good series. I'm super, super happy with it. All right. And then a couple of the back issues that I picked up. Shockingly, more Chip Zdarsky, The Spectacular Spider-Man. So I was trying to figure out how the numbers worked on this series, because I bought 1 through 6, and then it jumped straight to 297. So 297 is technically issue number 7 in his run, and so it goes on from there. So 297, 298, 299, and issue 300. From what I've read of this series, I absolutely love it. I wish Zdarsky would take over the Amazing Spider-Man run, because I think he could do it some justice, bring a little more darkness back into it, and actually finish some storylines for once. But other than that, that's all I have for you this week. If you could, leave me a like, leave me a comment. Tell me how I'm doing, If there's anything you'd like to see, anything I should be reading, let me know. Because I there's a lot of stuff out there, and I obviously can't read it all, but if you recommend it, maybe I'll pick it up. So, all right, if you just take it easy and have a good rest of your day.